In the organic compounds up to the 10th class, means in the 10th class syllabus we have two compounds information. In that first compound is ethanol. It is also known as ethyl alcohol. So, how to prepare the ethyl alcohol or ethanol? That discussion we are going to explain right now, right? So, in that, here we have one compound CH2 double bond CH2. This one we simply call the ethene. What we call ethene. When ethene compound or ethene gas we take in the boiler and we can able to send the water in a particular boiler, means in industrial process. So here we have to take one catalyst. Already we discussed about catalyst. Catalyst is a compound which not able to participate in the chemical reaction, but it can able to change rate of reaction. So here P2O5 we call the phosphorus pentoxide, here catalyst. So we are maintaining something pressure and something temperature. The pressure value is 100 to 300 atmospheres and temperature is almost 300 degrees Celsius. Then ultimately this hydrogen, whatever the water is there, it can able to breaks into H and OH. H is going to attach to the one side, OH is going to attach to the other side. Then ultimately the compound is formed CH3 bond CH2 bond OH. So this particular compound we call the ethanol. We call ethanol. So it is industrial process, right? So generally we are able to prepare in bulk quantity in industrial in this process. But in generally with our natural resources like barley, wheat, grains is also able to produce the alcohol or ethanol. So how it is? Simply that one we can able to take and able to fill in particular jars with the air tightened, right? Then ultimately it can able to turns into glucose. Simply this whatever the barley, wheat, grains we taken, we should make it into powder, right? Then ultimately we can able to get the glucose, right? So if you continue the process with adding of yeast, it is one type of enzyme with bacteria, right? So that we have to add, means whenever you add the yeast bacteria to that particular glucose, it can able to show the fermentation process. So in the fermentation process, what are the yeast bacteria we added, ultimately it reacted with glucose and it can able to prepare the ethanol. So this is the general process what we are have in the past, means in general in natural process. But in industrial purpose we are using the above one, right? It is short term one, it is little bit long term process. It takes almost days of time. It is rapid one, easy to get, right children? About the properties of ethanol. So in the first property of ethanol is it is the second largest solvent. First largest solvent is water. Here second largest solvent is ethanol, right? Then it is colorless and a sweet odor compound. So it not having color same like water, and it is having smell in the form of sweet. And the boiling point of ethanol is for pure alcohol, not added one, right? Added by water. It is pure alcohol. Boiling point is 78.3 degrees Celsius. Then 100% alcohol we call as absolute alcohol. 100% alcohol we call as absolute alcohol. Then we have something alcohol is added with sometimes methanol or isopropyl alcohol or gasoline. So here I have taken only one example as methanol. If methanol is added to the ethanol, right, it is toxic nature, means poisonous nature. Especially it is possible to transport the alcohol from industries to another one, right? If you are transported, the alcohol is added with methanol. So that mixture will be called as a denatured alcohol. So it is causing to health problems. If you drink that, it is able to creating for health problem. Next, 10% alcohol is present in the gasoline. It is having good fuel nature. If you take petrol or diesel, if it is added with the 10% of alcohol, ultimately the fuel efficiency is increased. So for that, 10% of alcohol in gasoline is best motor fuel. So you can able to observe in petrol pumps. They clearly mention on the pump. It is added by the fuel is added by ethanol. Then last but not least, the ethanol is majorly used in medical sector, especially in cough syrup and tincture iodine. Cough syrup. Basically, we have plenty of brands. If you are able to drink or take a sip of syrup, initially it is appearing like sweet in nature, but after taking the swallowing, ultimately you can able to get that hotness because it is added by ethanol. Same thing, tincture iodine. When you have the something wounds to the skin, ultimately we can able to clean with particular tincture iodine. In the tincture iodine also it is added with ethanol. These are the properties of ethanol, right? Next, we are going to discuss about chemical properties of ethanol. So in that, if you take ethanol in a test tube, if you add a small piece of sodium, you can able to get a sodium ethoxide with the H2 gas. For that, if you take the test tube and fill with ethanol and drop a piece of sodium, then we can able to get a hissing sound. Hissing sound. And boil of milk, how we can able to get this sound? Same like sodium is dropped in the water, it makes to react with the hissing sound and it can able to release the gas. If you place the fire matchstick, right, it should be makes shut off sound or pop sound. That sound indicates H2 gas, right? Same in second condition, if you take same ethanol in one more test tube, right? I take a test tube and if I fill it with a little bit or 1 ml of ethanol, if you add 2 to 3 drops of concentrated sulfuric acid, and you have to heat that up to 443 degree kelvins of temperature, it can able to form the water drops on the walls of a test tube, and the ultimate compound is ethene. So these particular two reactions are chemical properties of ethanol, right? Understand?